Hi everyone. I have been on a very long hiatus due to mental health, due to many issues. But the point is, I want to be back because I've been rather tired of being quiet. I have been a bit more vocal when it comes to university, when it comes to volunteering and everything. And I've even woken up my dog. As you can see, I have a dog. So lots of changes. So today I want to talk about the self, or ourselves. Every person is an individual, but the problem is, I think we've reached a point where we've become so selfish that we abuse that power, which is kind of ironic and hypocritical for me to say, because I am speaking from a platform, aren't I? But what happens is this. So let's take the example which is on everyone's tongues and everyone's mouths: feminism. So you've got different branches, you've got all the branches, and all of them have in common one thing: the fact that no one can agree on which one's the right one, the most important one, and what the actual definition is. So everyone goes around pointing at each other saying, hey, you're not a feminist because of ABC. No, you're not a feminist because you don't believe in Z. No, you're not a feminist because you don't believe in trans people. You're not a feminist because you don't believe in vaginas. Whatever. I have been a feminist for a very long while, and as the years progressed, I kind of moved from country to country. I have discovered different branches. I have seen feminism in different countries. And the more I see it, the more I look back at its history, and I can't just forgive what feminism has done for trans people. Because let's rewind a bit. So, who started the LGBT movement in the US was probably the catalyst of it all, right? Stonewall. So, you've got Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. Two trans women of color who started it all, who turned the world the way we know now. We should be grateful for them. They are amazing. So then, and you've also got in parallel suffragettes who are fighting for the women's votes, right? Which were the perfect example of white feminists. A perfect example of the feminists of today, let's say. They don't care about your color, they just care about the upper class woman who suffers from fuck knows who, from fuck knows what. Yes, they do have problems, I acknowledge. Every person has problems. No life is ideal. And they started their movement. Then it escalated into just small things, like terrorists barricading the London Gay Pride March by lying down in Stonewall saying, oh, it's fine, let them lead the march with their sayings that a woman born woman and their turf rhetoric. Or for instance, I started giving talks, and I got asked, do you want this feminist organization to go to your talk? And I was like, no, I don't. I actually gave them the doubt, so I went to their Facebook page, and I remember that they had a massive flag. Their symbol was a fucking vagina. Okay. Amazing. Good start. Props to you. I went further. We welcome women, non-binary people, and trans people. Which you can argue, maybe they just want to be inclusive, right? But what is trans people? Is it trans man, trans woman, trans feminine, trans masculine, non-binary again? I don't know. So for context, I live in Portugal. What I see is another way of thinking. There's a lot of ethnicities here. There's a lot of different nationalities. And every time there's a trans talk, nearly every time, I quite get lucky with my audience, but people who don't get ridiculous questions from people who claim to be trans activists, such as, how can we allow trans children to transition? Controversial, but it's a necessity. And if we go back to talking about the self and feminism, it always boils down to, were you born with a vagina? Were you born a woman in your birth certificate? And that thing, that fucking thing, follows me through my life. It fucked up my teenage years. It fucked up my 20s. And it's still fucking me over. Because everyone says, you're a woman who wants to be a man. So before it was, you know, you start hormones, or you change your gender in the passport, or sex, depending on the legal name of it on your passport. But at the end of the day, everyone else says, you're still a biological woman, you know that? But am I really? Pump my testosterone. Am I? Do you see everyone on the street, and do you see, like, do you look at them, and if you see, like, no evidence of a bulge, you say, that's a woman right over there. You don't. So why do we pay so much attention to genitals? Why are the genitals a definition of the self? They're not. They shouldn't be. But people believe in that. And that's why I have a very, very troubled history with feminism. Because they want me in. I've been called a traitor. They want me in. I've been called a traitor because they think that there is a problem with the penis, with the phallus, whatever you want to call it. And I've had people like roll their eyes during psychology classes when we mentioned Freud, like, oh, it's the penis, or laugh at the word penis. And it's really ridiculous. It's really childish. Because these people have not read Freud. They have not read modern interpretations. They have not studied further. They have not read revisited words of gender trouble by Judith Butler, if that's what the arguments they pull out of their ass to argue with me on. People don't understand what it is to be trans. People wave their flags that they are different than men, and that's the problem. That's the fucking problem with feminism. Because people don't really understand that you can wear a dress and be a guy. That you can express yourself in many ways and still be a woman. Just the woman wearing jeans is more acceptable than the guy wearing a dress. And people will say, oh, but that's patriarchy. That's a bit different answer. But when it comes to the self, if I wear a dress and I say I am a guy wearing a dress, just like Eddie Izzard once said. Eddie Izzard, as far as I'm aware of, identifies right now as non-binary. But the quote was, if I'm wearing a dress and it is my dress, it is a man's dress. That's the philosophy I go by. If you say that you are a woman wearing a dress or jeans, you are a woman. If you identify as a woman, you are a woman. So why is it so difficult to grasp the concept of a man wearing a dress? Why is it so difficult to grasp the concept that makeup is gender neutral? Why is it so difficult to grasp the concept that not all men are rapists? So I take a pot of black paint and I'm painting all over feminism because you've painted all over me. You've called me a traitor. You've raped me. You've done all things imaginable. And I still worry about abortion rights, girls not going to school in different places. I was celebrating when Saudi Arabia allowed women to drive for the first time. I celebrate that, but I will never call myself feminist, just because of my personal relation with it. That's the thing. I can say these things to a blank audience. I can never say it when people are in the room, because people call me sexist, because their definition of self is different from my own. And in their world, feminism is perfect. Feminism aids them, and they think of no one else. Actually, I am like that as well. But that's the thing. Because we're so fucked up with our definition of self, we step over other selves, and we want them to think the same way. And that goes to politics, that goes to gender issues, that goes to sexuality issues, relationships, polyamory, everything. And people have become very egocentric. People think that they are the sun which revolves. They think that they are the sun and everything revolves around them in a circle every day. So it's like a child's behavior. When you're a child, you think that the sun rises for you and then goes down for you. But that's not the case. I'm done.